This is Ms. Lavodi, and this is our introduction to contour line and blind contour drawing. When we begin drawing, we begin with observing the edges of objects and draw contour lines. A contour line describes all of the edges of an object, both the inside and the outside. Write down what you notice about this drawing. What makes it unique? What makes it look different? How are the lines describing the objects in this image? These images, along with the previous one, are examples of a blind contour drawing. In blind contour drawing, the artist will look only at the object and not down at their paper while they're drawing. The artist will use one line to continually draw all of the edges that they see in the object, both inside and outside, in order to try their best to describe what they're seeing on their paper. The artist does not look down at their paper while they're doing this entire drawing, and they might time themselves in different increments to give them a different amount of time to try to capture the image. The main goal of this exercise is to build hand-eye coordination and to focus more on looking at your object to really observe it. Blind contour drawing might initially look messy or imperfect to you, and that's actually how you know you're doing it correctly. Because you're not supposed to be looking at the paper, you're going to be left with a drawing that might not line up exactly as it should. If you're someone who plays a sport or dances or anything that requires you to use your motor skills, you'll understand that before you can even play a game or a match or do a recital, you have to practice the foundational skills. You have to go through drills. If I am going to do a weightlifting competition, I need to build off with lighter weights and really make sure I have excellent form for my movements. So in drawing and in art, it's similar. You actually need to do activities like blind contour drawing and build up your motor skills and build up your ability to see and look at your objects and train yourself with these little skills that build up over time. We can even compare blind contour drawing to playing video games. When you play a video game, chances are you're able to work the controller without having to look down at it, and you're able to focus only on what you're doing at the screen. So when we're drawing, same rule applies. I'm going to look only at my object, and I'm going to try not to look down at my paper. Take a moment to answer some of these questions. Why do artists practice blind contour drawing? How is playing sports or video games similar or relating to blind contour drawing? And what looks different about a blind contour drawing? This video clip will show you an example of a blind contour drawing that I was doing of my own hand. I start by looking only at my hand and using one continuous line to draw the ins and outs in different parts of my hand. Now you are going to try to do your own blind contour drawings. So follow along with my timed blind contour activity. Before you begin, here are some things we have to keep in mind. You're going to have your drawing tool in your dominant hand, and you're going to have paper set up on a flat surface. Unless I tell you otherwise, your non-dominant hand will be what you're drawing. You're going to position your hand so it's not an open hand. You're going to turn yourself slightly away from your paper so you're not looking at the paper and only at your hand. You're going to place the point of your drawing tool onto the paper, and then when I say to begin, you will begin to use one continuous line to draw your hand. You will not look down at your paper, and you will not lift up your drawing tool. Okay, make sure you have paper, a pen or pencil, and get your hand in the right pose. We're going to get our first blind contour drawing done right now. Okay, ready, set, draw. Right now you should be making a continuous contour line drawing of your hand on your paper, but you should not be looking at your paper. You should only be looking at your hand. Every time you see a crease or a curve or an edge on your hand or your finger, you should be drawing a line to represent it on your paper. Keep cutting in and out on your paper. And stop. Now you can take a look at your drawing. When you look at your drawing, what do you notice about it? Did you draw really small? Were all of your lines really scrunched together? Did your brain get in the way of you drawing? Sometimes our brains just make us want to look at what we're doing because we already have a mental picture of what something's supposed to look like. When we do this activity in class, try to focus on what you see, not what your brain is telling you to draw. Just because you're not really looking at the object if you're only trying to draw something from memory. When we meet in class to discuss this activity, we will be discussing these questions, so try to come up with your best answers. What makes blind contour drawing different from other kinds of line drawing? What were you thinking during this activity? How did this activity make you feel? Why do our brains get in the way of our drawing ability? And lastly, why is it more important to look at the object rather than your paper? Once we do our blind contour activity together in class, you will have a homework assignment. Following class on your own time at home, you will be creating 5 blind contour studies of your hand on one page in your sketchbook. If possible, with each new drawing, use a different colored pencil or different color art material that you have access to. Your drawing is supposed to and is allowed to overlap because you shouldn't really be looking at it. Having each drawing done in a different color will let you see each of the individual drawings as they overlap each other. This is my video example of how to do your homework. I started with my one contour line drawing, and then I picked up a colored pencil and I started to position my hand in a new pose, and I did another timed blind contour drawing, allowing myself to overlap the first drawing that I did. I'm just going to continue this process 4 more times in order to create an overlapped blind contour drawing.